Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special brief live to tape show. I'm taping this actually Thursday afternoon because I'm going to be on a plane Friday morning while this is airing. Welcome to everybody to our show number 574. I think you'll find this most enjoyable. I don't have a co-host and I don't have the benefit of all the comments that we normally get. The comment field is blank because, of course, we're live to tape. But let me know in the comments what you think of all this as we get here to the starting line, the pre-start, to the starting line for the pre-start. Severn Sailing Association, Annapolis, Maryland, has been our race committee of choice of late. No Julia here yet, but some good news about that we'll tell you in a few moments. She is not in her chair, but maybe, with any luck, next Tuesday. I want to just say why we're live to tape today and where I'm going. And many of you will recognize the brand new, nearly brand new clubhouse of the Newport Harbor Yacht Club down in Newport Beach, California. And the Lighted Boat Parade is this week. It's a long time, 100 and some odd years, 14 years, something like that. And it takes place down there. And coincident with that, Lighted Boat Parade. Here's Balboa Yacht Club, the other esteemed. There's several clubs in the Bay, but this is Balboa Yacht Club celebrating the end of their 100th season. I'm a proud member of that club. And our team, our sailing team, It's Okay, has their Christmas party always during the Lighted Boat Parade just down the peninsula from the Newport Harbor Yacht Club at a beautiful home there of dear friends, Fozy, who's been on this show. It's the 114th annual Newport Beach Christmas Boat Parade and Ring of Lights. And this looks like this parade is so cool. In fact, it's in response to the Rose Parade, the Tournament of Roses Parade, which started just a year or two before this did, back at the turn of not the last century, 2 centuries ago. And it's very, very popular. They get 1 million people lining the shores over the next 4 or 5 nights. Started, I think, 2 nights ago. And that's always when we have our Christmas party for our sailing team, the It's Okay sailing team you've heard me talk about. And I'm looking forward to being down there tomorrow, meaning Friday. I'm recording this Thursday. Being there this weekend with my friends and colleagues on that boat. And at the Balboa Yacht Club, the Governor's Cup TV crowd, a lot of them will be there as well. So that's why we are today live to tape, not our usual live show. It is show number 570. No, today's 574. This was our show on Tuesday. I want to thank James Pleasance, who did our show 573 on Tuesday, live from Sydney, from the World Match Racing Tour. The start of the final down there at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia was a terrific event. It runs through the 18th, so another 3 days. It's the 16th down there now. Friday the 16th, it runs through Sunday. Look at these beautiful images, some of which we played for you we showed you on Tuesday. The Opera House, of course, that's Rushcutters Bay, where the Cruising Yacht Club is ensconced. This event hosted at the last minute by the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia because of the Chinese not being able to host it. It was going to be in Shenzhen in China, but because of COVID, that was not possible. This is racing in the last couple of days. They've been, as James predicted, it's been breeze on. Fabulous racing in the harbor. And these are some of Andrea Francolini's photos. He shoots the Rolex big boat. Well, he shoots a lot of different things, but he shoots the Sydney to Hobart race eventually. He's living in Sydney. CYCA, the Elliott Sevens, fabulous photos. Look at the kid's mouth wide. I don't know, the kid. The guy's mouth wide open. Here is the team from the, I believe, this is the all-ladies team. There's one dude on the boat, but they had a bit of a knock over there in front of the Opera House. But fabulous photos, fabulous racing by all account. And Bill Wingrove put a comment on earlier in this, I saw earlier today, and he said, "What? No foiling? How can that be exciting to watch?" And of course, it's fabulously exciting. And thanks again to Andrea Francolini for those fabulous photos. What's going to happen Sunday? Well, we've been following this, and since our show on Tuesday, we knew Tuesday during the show that Argentina had gone through, and now we know that France has gone through. So the final of the World Cup is this Sunday, of course. Put in the comments. We'll read the comments of the show. We leave comments on during the show, even though this is, as I said, live to tape. But I've been cheering for Argentina since the U.S. got knocked out. I'd love to see Lionel Messi finally get the ring, win one. So France has been there before, and I'd love to see Argentina knock them off the block. I don't know how all the rest of you feel, but let us know in the comments. We'll be watching Sunday morning. That's at 0700 our time here on the West Coast, 1500 UTC. Speaking of Julia, the green light has been given to her by the doctors. And I was with her on, I guess, was it Wednesday morning on a call with her. Her orthopod says that her foot is healed well enough now that she can put some weight on it. And she's got a special boot. And she is getting out of the convalescent home, we hope, knock on wood, on Monday. Be back here at the Commodore's Corners upstairs at the Beach Street Yacht Club on Monday. And maybe, with any luck, she'll be here in the studio with me in her normal position over there at her desk on Tuesday. One can only hope. We certainly do hope so, and she's doing well. Speaking of Tuesday, a lot of you will know not only Henry Menon, but his beautiful wife, Friedel. They are two of the loveliest, nicest people in the sport. This is their, I think their wedding anniversary earlier this year, I think in June, their 63rd wedding anniversary. The two of them have attended so many different events. He, a famously good umpire, judge, racing rules advisor, member of IWRU, ISAF, World Sailing Committees. And Henry has now penned a book. He's now an author, Renaissance man that he is, from Philadelphia, originally lives in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I think he's going to be in Philly live with us next Tuesday to discuss his book, his new novel, which you can get on Amazon, called Eric. And I asked Henry if it's autobiographical, because it's about a guy. He's a bright young man, according to the notes on Amazon. Eric is a bright young man whose curiosity leads him to explore a world he would have never found otherwise. He's the Philly kid, breaking. Henry says it's not autobiographical. Breaking from his traditional background to find within himself a competitiveness he didn't know existed. He was the quote-unquote natural in the single-handed dinghy racing. But would his passion, focus, and drive to be the best in the world be derailed by his passion for Lauren? So it's a love story as well. Henry Menon, who would have known? Author, Renaissance man, judge, umpire. He'll be our guest live on Tuesday's show next week. Hope you can join us for that. Also a program note while we're at it. On Sunday, the 25th, we will do our traditional, that's our 25th. It'll be the 26th down under. We'll do our traditional watch party for the Rolex. So there's an S missing there. Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race. I love that they call it the Yacht Race. Graphics department, note that, please. Me being the graphics department. And that we'll go live at 17:30 Pacific. That is Christmas night, the 25th. That's 01:30, if I've done my math right, 01:30 UTC. So in London anyway, and an hour later on the continent, which is when they go live with the television on Channel 7 in Australia at 12:30 on Boxing Day on the 26th. And the race starts 30 minutes after that at 1 o'clock in Oz. Boxing Day coverage begins at 12:30, race at 1300 Australian Eastern Daylight Time on our Christmas night, the 25th. If you would please, that of course brought to you by Sailing Illustrated, we'll co-stream that on our usual channels. That is on the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page and our YouTube channel. If you would be so inclined, do support us. As always, we ask that you give us $1 or $2 or $5 a month via Patreon. Become a patron to help keep our equipment and streaming facility intact and paid for. Keep upgrading a little bit by bit. Patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Thank you very much for your support. Show number 574, live to tape today, a brief show. And mostly, especially, rather than just canceling the show, we know that Jon Emmett had done was going to do a report from Vila Moura in Portugal, where he's been coaching, and a regatta has started. And today was the first day of racing. He sent a report, but first let's get his normal report. Jon Emmett from Jon Emmett Sailing, what we call our Coach's Corner with Jon.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. Well, originally I was going to do a bit of a boat park walk round, but it was pouring with rain, so I decided to give that one a miss. Pretty hard to do a nice chat when you've got the weather against you, and also I am always a bit worried about the camera equipment. That doesn't like rain much. So here on the water, I'm not sure how well you can see the committee boat in the background. We're under postponement. Such is the joys of sailing, and I need to be careful I don't actually bump into anyone, because although there's not much current, there is some really big waves here. In fact, just looking at the monitor, it's really easy to get seasick. So I'm on the water, we're under postponement, and this is the Vila Moura Grand Prix. Probably can't actually see any of the stuff in the background, but this is a two-part event. So we've got one leg in December, which is just a 4-day regatta, and then we have another one in February. But actually, we probably won't do the second one because we've got such a lot of racing in March and April. Very grateful for the gimbal today, because even though it's very light winds now, we've just had a front come through. In fact, it was a textbook front. It'd be really good to use in a meteorology lecture. We're now waiting for the wind to settle. The wind is light, but the swell is huge. So just me on the water today, doing some learning, because although the wind is light, didn't want to risk Abu's shoulder. Big picture, not an important regatta. In fact, we may see some people towing in if they're not too patient. I think actually we'll be sailing soon. But it's about being efficient. You know, you want to be efficient in the gym, but you can be efficient on the water as well. And the conditions here, this time of year in Europe, it's very changeable. I mean, very happy to be here. It's probably best part of 20 degrees, and it's about -5, -10 at home. So yeah, we've got the best chance of training here, but it is hard. That's why I think regattas, you know, they need to be 3, 4, 5 days long at least, because weekend regattas you can easily lose a weekend's training or racing. And yeah, so for me this is the last regatta of the year. I'll try and talk a little bit more about how the racing went on the next show, which will be live. But hopefully you found this useful, and it's nice to see a load of dinghies on the water, even if they're not actually racing around the marks. I think I'll say hello to Dan.
Jon Emmett, live to tape, also sent that report in this morning from Vila Moura in Portugal. Lovely Portugal, 20 degrees Celsius, he said. This perpetual summer program. A lot of these athletes go home for their Christmas holiday, New Year holiday, and then they're all going to Australia to train, as you will see in this next video. Also sent by Jon. And and also from today.
Hi, I'm Elliot Hansen. We're in Villamora. Yeah, so today was day one. We did 2 races. The first one was probably a race of 2 halves at least. Kind of started and some big clouds around, rain clouds, and the wind was all over the place. Yeah, unfortunately for me, I kind of chipped away and was having a good battle with Mickey down the last run. We probably crossed the line about half a boat length apart, but that was a nice finish. And then we sat around for half an hour, sort of bobbing around in the swell. Because the first race finished in about 3-4 knots. Eventually the breeze came back in, and the second race we had probably gusts of over 25 knots and still a big wave. So yeah, two very different races, and fortunately I managed to win them both. We're here as a British squad, so we've done a week's training and now we're doing this regatta. We'll then go to Australia on just after Christmas for about 2 months. So we're just sort of here as a bit of a stepping stone from the Europeans to stay sharp enough so that when we get out to Australia, we're not useless.
Yeah, so we don't embarrass ourselves. The Perpetual Summer Program looks like the Brits are tough again in the ILCA, at least the ILCA 7, perhaps the 6. By the way, I think there are also 49ers and 49er FXs there. I saw some in the background. I think John mentioned that in one of his texts today when he sent not one but those 2 videos through. Thank you, John, very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend there in Villamora. And then I think he's headed back for his own Christmas back in the UK. And then I'm not sure where he's headed after that, but we always appreciate Jon Emmett's regular reports, virtually every show. Jon Emmett Sailing, get to the front of the fleet. Show number 574. It's kind of strange not to come out of this and go to the comments. The comments are empty, and not have anybody to talk and read some comments from, and let alone not having Julie here. But with any luck, she will be here on next Tuesday because she hopes to be back. We all hope she's going to be back on Monday back here at the Beach Street Yacht Club from the convalescent home where she's been, I think, bloody hell, 5 weeks, is it? Something like that. Now we've got a brief A4. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote for today. And it's not really a video. It's some slides that he used in a presentation some years ago. Sent them through, and I think they're so good, I thought I would for sure use them. And it's about our sport. In fact, it's what is great, Alistair asserts, and I think we would all agree, about sailing. He says, one, it's always an adventure, whether participating in adrenaline-filled racing or being independent in a quiet cove. It is beautiful in every respect, boats, places, and people. Craftsmanship skills are developed. It is a hands-on activity. People with disabilities can sail and win gold medals even. It is environmentally friendly. Fresh air, freedom, families, and fun. Yes, I overdid it a bit with the F word. Alliteration at its best. Generations can sail together, including grandparents and grandchildren. Humility. Nature is more powerful than we are. I can't quarrel with any of those. I think they're all superb points. It is inexpensive if you want it to be. Of course, if you want to fund an America's Cup campaign, it might not be so inexpensive. It is joyful. You develop your knowledge of such topics as weather, navigation, charts, compasses, tactics, practical skills, etc., etc. And if you watch here on this show, you learn some more things about other things not necessarily directly related to sailing. And he makes the point, Alistair does, that you develop leadership skills. Good point. It tests you mentally, a thinking person's game with a lot of strategy. My beloved father, who's closing in on 90, always said to go sailing, you have to not only be physically fit, you have to be mentally fit too. And I think that is really a good point from my dad, Tom Sr. You meet new and interesting people all the time. Isn't that the truth? Organizations are there to support you, such as yacht clubs, of course, class associations, and so on. It is physical. It's hard to believe. People think our sport is kind of a cocktail cruise. And those of you who've sailed, whether big boats or small boats, know that it is physical, even in light air. Great exercise. He goes on, Alistair does, to say, what is great about sailing? You spend quality time with family and friends. You can go racing or cruising or whatever, or both. It is safe. I've had a lot more injuries bike riding than sailing. I've had a lot more playing hockey, that's for sure. It takes you outside your comfort zone. We all need that. You unwind, relax, recharge your batteries. There is such a variety of boats, places, people, ages, skill levels, to say nothing of disciplines, whether it be fleet racing, match racing, team racing, and so on. It opens up the world to you. Isn't that the truth? Here is a group of people on this show, most of whom have never met each other, on here week after show, week after week, and we all feel like we know each other, like we're long time friends by now. And that is the truth. What a great worldwide sport. In fact, if you talk about where our sport is practiced, it's maybe not as practiced in as many, practice, is that the right word, in as many countries as swimming or track and field, athletics to some of you, and one or two others. But it's one of the few sports that, from the Nordics to the middle part of the world, through the Caribbean, down through South America, down through the Asia Pacific islands. I mean, to say nothing of the Antipodes. It's practiced all over the world. It's big in Asia, even. We don't talk much about it here, but of course the sport is practiced in more countries than I say a handful of other sports. Sailing is involved. That's why it's still in the Olympics. It has that X factor. Yeah. It has that X factor. Young kids can do it, and old kids. Finally, Alistair says, you enjoy a great sleep after a big day on the water, with or without a can of beer or a glass of wine afterwards. Alistair Murray, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. We really appreciate him sending those along. And we use the Royal Naval Band of Australia playing, of course, waltzing Matilda. Alistair Murray. Thank you, Alistair, for that. This live to tape. It's really not to tape. It's recorded on the hard drive of my Apple Mac Studio, and then we'll upload it to the usual distribution tonight. So you'll see it at our normal time on Friday at 1300 Pacific, and so on. That about does it. We said it'd be a brief show, and that gets us to the D block here. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, a little bit longer Whiskey Tango Foxtrot than usual. First, this gunned down a few. We see that here on San Francisco Bay too often. And I'll be sitting here in the studio and hear the long hoots. You know, they'll do the 5 hoot, meaning get the hell out of my way. And then they'll just, if it gets really dodgy, it's just the one great big long hoot on the horn of the freighter, the tanker, the container ship. And it's not just to warn the people out of their way, whoever it is, sailboats or otherwise, but it's also to draw attention. So if there is a problem, this guy, you know, has got eyeballs. It says, hey, he did try to do the right thing. He's in the channel, and this other crouton didn't get out of the way. But I thought you'd enjoy that. This next one is from Clark Chapin. And we dedicate this to our Scandinavian friends. And it's a video. It's a little longer than we usually play here in the D block, but I think you really enjoy it, especially those of you who are Vikings. Whoops, what's that? Let's play the video. And Danes.
I dag drager vi mod England! Ja! Mod skiberne!
Svend, skal du ikke have hjelm på?
Jeg synes, den er ret irriterende, den. Den giver sådan en kløe i hårbunden.
Nå, men
Hjalmar, jeg rider forsigtigt.
der er ingen, der siger, at du ikke rider forsigtigt, Svend. Men,
Og hvad skal jeg gøre ved den, når jeg kommer frem, Hjalmar? Skal jeg rende rundt med sådan en hjelm i England?
ja, det tænker jeg.
Ja!
Svend vil ikke have hjelm på! Han siger, at den klør i hovedbunden!
Jeg er ikke typen, der bruger hjelm!
Men det er en god idé.
Den smadrer mine sætninger!
I'm sorry.
Svend.
Ja?
I kan plyndre lige så tosset I vil, men I tager hjelm på.
Ja.
Du skal se, englænderne bruger sikkert også hjelm.
Mod skiberne!
To the ships! See, it's about sailing. So this... Are you okay? Apparently this is a Danish commercial about why it's important to wear helmets when you're bicycling. Clark Chapin, thank you for that. It is about sailing. It's to the ships. We're going to go invade England. I thought we couldn't help that. And then finally, Mom said, alcohol is your enemy. Jesus said, love your enemy. Case closed. Cheers. The drinking show with a sailing problem. That courtesy of who else but Ted Ryman in the Republic of South Africa. Okay, that gets us to the finish line of this abbreviated live-to-tape show. The MC Scow Masters, I guess that's what that regatta is, Regatta Girl photo. And a reminder that next Tuesday we'll have Henry Mannon, and with any luck, we'll get Fidel on the camera as well with Henry. Love them both. Longtime dear friends. His book, Eric, and he says it's not autobiographical, but about the bright young kid. And that's just coming out. It's available on Amazon. Probably a good Christmas present. He sent me one. I haven't read it yet, but I shall as soon as it arrives, and hopefully before Tuesday when Henry will be with us live from, I think, Philadelphia. In the meantime, please, even this taped show, like, follow, and share. And if you want to comment, excuse me, comments are always welcome, as you know, even in replay. We'll go back and look at them all, especially. Let me know, too, what you think. If the quality was okay, if going live to tape is okay. And we prefer to go live because we love the live comments, we love the interaction, and so on and so forth. But for me, it's not a big deal either way. But it's a lot more fun to be live. If you would, please support us on Patreon. Become a patron, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. And as always, we like to thank those who afforded us video and images and audio for today's show. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, wherever in the world you are. We'll see you on Tuesday live with Henry Menon. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.